Welcome back. We are studying Numbers chapter 7. And I was thinking maybe saying welcome back is a weird way to welcome somebody for the first time. So if this is your first time, go back to the beginning, or a lot of this is not going to make any sense. Mostly because the Bible is about patterns, and we can't look at it as to why something's done necessarily. We need to look at what's the pattern, what's the principle being set up there. And so that's what you do when you go through Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus. By the time you get to Numbers chapter 7, a lot of this stuff will already make sense. So that's why you need to start at the beginning. I'm not against church. I'm not against organized religion necessarily. I have complaints, but we all do. My concern is we've been told that the first half of the Bible doesn't matter anymore. And I can disagree on a lot of levels with that, but mostly I disagree on the fact that even if we say we don't have to follow those laws, why would we not need to learn the patterns and the principles? And knowing the patterns and principles will open up the New Testament to mean so much more than it does now. That's my contention. So if you're just now hearing that for the first time on chapter 7 of Numbers, God bless you. I think I've said it a million times. So chapter 7 is one of the longest chapters in the Torah. It's got 89 verses. So starting in Exodus chapter 40, through Leviticus to Numbers chapter 7, all of this happened in only 50 days. Sometimes we think of a whole book of the Bible and chapters of that must have been like 1,000 years. It was 50 days. So there's a lot happening here that we need to know, and we need to remember in context, it happened successively, like right after the other, one right after the other. So that's where we're at. The book of Numbers, like I said, is one of the longest chapters in the Bible, but not every detail to it is vital to what we're learning right now. So I am going to skip some of the individual descriptions only because they're not important to this study. They are important, just not to this study. So here we go. Numbers chapter 7. On the day Moses set up the tabernacle, he anointed it and set it apart as holy. He also anointed and set apart as all its furnishings and the altar with its utensils. And then the leaders of Israel, the tribal leaders who had registered the troops, came and brought their offerings. Together they brought 6 large wagons and 12 oxen. There was a wagon for every 2 leaders and ox for each leader. They presented these to the Lord in front of the tabernacle. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Receive their gifts and use these oxen and wagons for transporting the tabernacle. Distribute them among the Levites according to the work they have to do." So Moses took the wagons and oxen and presented them to the Levites. He gave 2 wagons and 4 oxen to the Gershonite division for their work, and he gave 4 wagons and 8 oxen to the Merari division for their work. All their work was done under the leadership of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. But he gave none of the wagons or oxen to the Kohathite division, since they were required to carry the sacred objects of the tabernacle on their shoulders. The leaders also presented dedication gifts for the altar at the time it was anointed. They each placed their gifts before the altar. The Lord said to Moses, "Let one leader bring his gift each day for the dedication of the altar." On the first day of Nahshon, son of Amminadab, leader of the tribe of Judah, presented his offering. And then it lists what all was included in that. And then on the second day, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, leader of the tribe of Issachar, presented his offering. And then it lists all of that. And on the third day, Eliab, son of Helon, leader of the tribe of Zebulun, presented his offering. And then we'll skip down. On the fourth day, Eleazar, son of Shadur, leader of the tribe of Reuben, presented his offering. Then on the 5th day, Shemuel, son of Zurishaddai, leader of the tribe of Simeon, presented his offering. And on the 6th day, Elisaphat, son of Deuel, leader of the tribe of Gad, presented his offering. And then on the seventh day, Ishlama, son of Ammihud, leader of the tribe of Ephraim, presented his offering. And on the eighth day, Gamaliel, son of Pedazur, leader of the tribe of Manasseh, presented his offering. And on the ninth day, Abidan, son of Gideoni, leader of the tribe of Benjamin, presented his offering. And on the 10th day, Eleazar, son of Amashishadad, leader of the tribe of Dan, presented his offering. And on the 11th day, Pagiel, son of Orchron, leader of the tribe of Asher, presented his offering. And then on the 12th day, Ahira, son of Enan, leader of the tribe of Naphtali, presented his offering. So this was the dedication offering brought by the leaders of Israel at the time the altar was anointed. 12 silver platters, 12 silver basins, and 12 gold incense containers. And then it goes to list all the goats and the gold and everything that was brought in. And whenever Moses went into the tabernacle to speak with the Lord, he heard the voice speaking to him from between the two cherubim above the ark's cover, the place of atonement that rests on the ark of the covenant. The Lord spoke to him from there. And that's Numbers chapter 7. So why did we go through all of those names and the hard to pronounce stuff? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is to learn the patterns. Who's who and what were the patterns? How did those evolve? And what did God bring that meaning out from the first covenant? And that's what we're looking for. So there are these are some of the final preparations to make the priesthood and God's earthly dwelling complete. You know, the tabernacle's done, the priesthood's anointed. He set up the hierarchy parts that bring in gold and silver and offerings and stuff. So the leader of each of the 12 tribes brings their offering to the Lord. One tribe per day for 12 days. The pattern we want to see here is God takes time sometimes. He's not interested in the argument that we can't afford to take 12 days off. You can take 12 days off because you're honoring me and I'm the creator of the world. That's, he should have the say over that, over our bosses or worldly things. And so this took a lot of time and money and effort. They had to all gather it up. And then the leader went and did it. It wasn't an underling or an assistant or, an associate pastor. It was the senior pastor. It was the main guy of the tribe. The chieftain did it. So the first gift was a communal gift. It was given from the entire congregation of Israel's leaders. And these carts were to be given to the Levite clans so they could transport everything. It was the Merari that transported the heavy wooden planks. Gershon moved the thick curtains and, that covered all the doors. And verse 9 says, carry the ark on their shoulders and not put it in an ox cart. And that's why they didn't get one, because they weren't supposed to use a cart. They were supposed to carry it on their shoulders. So we see in 1 Chronicles 13, when King David called for the ark, it went like this. David consulted with all his officials, including the generals and captains of his army. Then he addressed the entire assembly of Israel as follows. If you approve, and it is the will of the Lord our God, let us send messages to all the Israelites throughout the land, including the priests and Levites in their towns and pasture lands. Let us invite them to come and join us. It is time to bring the ark of our God. Bring back the ark of our God, for we neglected it during the reign of Saul. The whole assembly agreed to this, so everybody was in favor of it. For the people could see it was the right thing to do. So David summoned all Israel from the Sihor Brook of Egypt, all in the south, all the way to the town of Lebanon in the north, to join in bringing the ark of God from Kiriath Jearim. When David and all Israel went to Bala of Judah, also called Kiriath Jearim, to bring back the ark of God, which bears the name of the Lord, who is enthroned between the cherubim, they placed the ark of God on a new cart and brought it from Abinadab's house. Uzzah and Ahio were guiding the cart. David and all Israel were celebrating before God with all their might, singing songs and playing all kinds of musical instruments, lyres, harps, tambourines, cymbals, and trumpets. But when they arrived at the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen stumbled, and Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark. And the Lord's anger was aroused against Uzzah, and he struck him dead because he had laid his hand on the ark. So Uzzah died there in the presence of God. So basically, everybody agreed. Everybody thought this was a great idea, and they even provided a new cart. It was the best way to do it, except that's not the way God said do it. God said do it this way. And since they didn't do it, he took their life. And sometimes when we stay in the New Testament, we missed some of the patterns that God teaches, sometimes by taking a life. And that's his will, it's his prerogative. So sages believe that Uzzah was killed for touching the ark and transporting it in a cart, because he was not authorized to do it. He was not from the right clan that was supposed to be moving it. So he couldn't touch it. So every tribe gave the same amount and quality. The point is that this list is what every tribal leader presented to the sanctuary. One tribe per day for 12 consecutive days brought this offering, just as anyone who comes to Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, for atonement and salvation must offer the same thing, himself, nothing less, nothing more. It doesn't matter if you have a lot or none. You just offer yourself. Don't leave anything out. So the honor of being first went to Judah. The honor of giving on Shabbat went to Ephraim, the two most dominant tribes. We're going to see Judah and Ephraim elevated above the other 10 tribes as we kind of move along. The phrase speak with him in Hebrew is debir. Debir means a conversation, a two-way conversation. Remember, we studied in Exodus dabar, and that was the 10 words. That means words, so things are pronounced. Debir is D-I-B-B-E-R, and it's more like a two-way conversation, as opposed to just like an oracle pronounced by God. So Moses is in the holy place next to the inner veil called the Parokhet, and facing towards the ark. So despite that song that says we as believers stand in the Holy of Holies, that's not biblical, because it is Jesus who stands in the Holy of Holies as a high priest and mediator. So we as Messiah's priest stand within the holy place, which is the lesser chamber. And I know that's one of those things. And one of the disadvantages of learning scripture, especially the Old Testament, is some songs will bother you. Don't worry too much about this as long as it's not unbiblical, like anti-biblical. But just be aware that Christians do not like when you point this out. So I have not made one friend for pointing out how a song was not biblically correct. Nobody likes it apparently. So don't go down that avenue. So God bless. Love God, love people, and change the world.